Baseline gonna make man shatter. Baseline gonna make man shatter.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to Esports Masters League. It is Season 7, Console 1. It is Round 2 of the Championship as we take in the Japanese Grand Prix from the Suzuka International Circuit. My name is James Head, Delighted to be taking to the stream, of course, here tonight. I've been Mike, I believe, is going to be joining me in the commentary box at some point. He is not showing online on Discord. If not, you're stuck with me for the next hour and a half, which is good because my voice is already going, and you are going to enjoy, hopefully, what is to come on the 27 laps that we've got around here at Suzuka. Let's have a look then at what happened, of course, last week in the new top 10 graphic that we've got here. Luke Rapat, of course, taking the win for Team Shazoo. E8 Azim in second, 2.5 tenths of a second behind, in fact, on the Shazoo man in second. NLR Ryan finishing in third, 3 seconds behind with Spicer in fourth. Quartz there in fifth, got very tight actually between third, fourth, and fifth there, 6 tenths of a second covering them. Agonize, his 10-second penalty got removed. He's up into sixth position, 5.6 seconds off the winner, Luca Rapata. Owen there in seventh, with Flo in eighth. Danny Van Ruyten there in ninth, and Gatkowski, who did have a 10-second penalty removal, but then got a 5-second penalty for an incident. He's there finishing off the top 10. What did that do to the championship standings coming after round 1 of the season? Well, it's very close within the top 3 teams. 4 points separating the top 3 teams coming into tonight. Team Shazoo leading the way on 41 points. ET8 in second on 38. NLR in third on 37. Grand Track 10 in fourth on 25. Future Racing Team in fifth on 22. Then CPI in sixth on 16. Top Tier Motorsport in seventh on 12. Bunker Racing Team in 8th on 11, then Team Extoria there in 9th on 8, and then Avisio Racing with the nil point, unfortunately. Hopefully, going to be picking up some points here tonight, though, here in Japan. Of course, top 19 positions do get the points out on track, so hopefully they'll be able to pick up their first points of the season. I believe we are waiting on one more driver at this moment in time. For the life of me, I don't know who it is, but we'll find out in due course, because here is the lineup coming into tonight for tonight here in Japan. And for GT10, in what would be the Mercedes, of course, we are still running the multiplayer cars. They've got Boya Lulo and Mad Dogs in the all-French pairing for the all-French team for GT10. Lewis and Gaitons, I think that was pronounced, for Team Extoria there, the Belgian and the Frenchman. For Team Shazoo, it is Danny Van Ruyten and Shazoo Alpha Gully, both PSF1 drivers, of course, and PSGL. Fraser and MI Killer NL for CPI Esports. Decent pairing, I'm going to say that, coming into tonight. Max Power, who hopefully will be at Max Power within qualifying. He's out on top, along with Lafitte for Avisio Racing. And then we have got Ryan and Epic Valet for NLR, which is a really strong pairing, again, the German and the Italian. For ET8, it is Rodadell, who was former NLR once upon a time, alongside Renz Thomason. Renz Thomason, I'm very excited to see how he gets on around here after his real good race that he had in PSGL PSF1 around here. Agonizing FRT Dan in for FRT. The Romanian, of course, you saw last week and picking up a 6th place finish. Finn Bob and Tech Buxtel there for Bunga Racing Team, the all British pairing, and then finishing off with TTM, who've got Thomas Covers and TTM Mustache. Whether or not Mustache will be clean shaven by the end of tonight remains to have to try and get that. Everything will be okay in terms of the stream. Apologies that we just dropped frames there for a second. Did have this problem last week, if you remember. Just dropped out slightly there, so apologies about that. Hopefully everything will... If not, a few issues here on the stream, which is absolutely hunky-dory stuff. Hang on, I am going to... Hopefully that might just fix things, but it looks like it is not, which is absolutely brilliant. So, I need to get my brains on again, and it seems like at the minute the stream is lagging even we're on the thing. So give me a second. What I'll do is maybe lower the bitrate there slightly. My laptop is very, very hot actually, so might be my laptop that is overheating slightly. That is definitely very, very hot at this moment in time. So hopefully it is not going to fry up. Hopefully it's not going to burn before we go. We are starting in a couple of minutes, which gives me a little bit of time to try and fix things. So what I will do is I will go on the intermission screen for now. You can hear some lovely music as well. I'll be back with you for the start of qualifying. thank you very much for hanging on, by the way. I am still trying to fix some of the issues. It is still dropping frames slightly. Hopefully it's not going to be too bad. It looks as if we are going to get into the lobby. TF10 man decided to join into the lobby there. Not sure what he was trying to do, being invited. Hopefully the drop frames will just fix themselves as we go through. It could be either my connection or could be my laptop overheating slightly. If it is my laptop overheating, I'm not genuinely surprised. It is looking like it's on the way out slightly, so hopefully it will be a-okay. And let's put this to the test then, and take it live to on track, and hopefully things will be a little bit better and a little bit smoother. I've already dropped the bit rate slightly, so hopefully it's going to be okay. If not, then you might just have to put up with it, I'm afraid. Nothing really that I can do, apart from literally restart everything, which will A, cost the stream, and B, you will not hear my lovely voice, which is what you guys want to hear. And we should be getting the first guys out on track, and it is the NLR man, Orion, who was the first man out on track. Now coming from the right-hander of turn number 4, through the left-hander now of turn 5, through the right-hander now of turn number 6. And of course, Ryan did compete last week. He is once again our lobby host tonight as well. So hopefully things will be a-okay with Ryan, and hopefully things will be a-okay with the stream. Let me know if anything happens. Let me know if there's any drop frames or anything on your end. I will monitor it profusely on my end, and hopefully it will be okay as the night goes on. If not, then we're going to have to go back to square one. Anyways, Ryan is on the run through the left-hander of the hairpin. He's on his outlap currently. I have turned everything off for the life of me. Let's get all the details and all the telemetry and all that fancy stuff up. Ryan is coming to the left-hand now. Spoon curve, turns 13 and 14. And this should be a pretty decent run, you'd imagine, from Ryan. You would imagine that he's going to be toward the top end of the field. Now comes in toward the left-hander of 130 on the fastest corner on the track. 10:15, of course. And then in towards turn 16, 17, 18. Doesn't look like there's too much of a delay, actually, between the stream, which is actually quite good. Right, hopefully you can all hear me. Hopefully, as I say, apologies about the freezing there. And now coming to the left-hander of turn number 3 and 4. On board with the NLR man of Ryan. It is very intermittent, I've got to say, the drop frames at the minute. So apologies if you experience anything to do with that tonight. Now coming to the left-hander of turn number 7 at Dunlop Curve. In towards turn 8 at the Degners, I think it is. Yeah, Degner 1 and then to the right-hander of Degner 2. Missed the curve slightly through Degner 2. Does Ryan, now running up the hill in toward the left-hander now of the hairpin, pretty much at the highest point of the circuit here in Japan. And now runs through into the right-hander of turn number 11, pretty much where the MotoGP and the bike layout is. On the right-hand side there, now going towards the left-hander of Spoon Curve before you get, of course, towards 130R. Maintaining that battery quite nicely, I've got to say, at this moment in time, is Ryan. Now coming up the hill in towards this part of the track and in towards the left-hander of 130R at 10:15, and then into the Casio Triangle just after this as well. At least it's not as bad as what it was last week, I've got to say, the drop frames at the minute, so hopefully it'll just stabilise. It is my connection, I think, more than anything. Right now to the line, 27 flat to start off the night. Pretty decent lap time from him. Let's see who else is on a lap time right now. Guy Thomas is in the middle second. Thomas Covers in first. Agonize is coming through the left-hander of 130R. Hopefully it's not agony for him here tonight in Japan. It's Radadel from Danny Van Ruyten there in second. Ryan there now into third. And not going too bad at all. Now coming to the right-hander does Agonize. Should go around Alpha Gully. Oh, goes behind Mustache, in fact. So goes 6th position. Not too bad there at all from him. Renz Thomason, though, goes to the top with a 26.8. So good lap time there by Renz from Radadel on second. Danny Van Ruyten there in third. Dan is coming through the final couple of corners. Through the right-hander now of turn 18. On the run toward the line, then the FRT man comes. He does a very, very respectful lap time. Goes 7th, 27.434. Very nice lap time there from FRT Dan, but it is Renz Thomason out on top. Who else for ETA? Currently in ETA 1-2 as well. Radadel there in second, and Jazil, we've got Danny Van Ruyten there in third. So the main protagonist you would expect to be up there are up there early on in this qualifying session as Thomas Covers now comes through the right-hander in the final corner. Covers coming off his qualifying session so far, goes 7th. With a good lap time there does Thomas Covers. Friends, Thomas and Load on top. First runs. Completely done. And again, apologies if we are dropping frames there slightly in the screen freezes on your end. I am going to try, if I can, and fix it. It might be that we run this stream in absolute shoddy quality, but I will try and fix things as we go along. And it's definitely my connection, I think, more than anything at this moment in time. Boy Ludo is on a lap for TF10. For TF10 for GT10. Goodness me. For GT10, now coming through the right-hander down the hill in towards the spoon curve. Goodness me, I hope Boy Ludo does not go in TF10 after that gap. Now coming from the left-hander of the spoon curve, on board with Boy Ludo. See what his lap time is going to be coming through this middle sector split trenchman. Now running up the hill into the left-hander of turn number 15 at 130R, and it's a 111.3 in that middle sector. Ren's out on top, right at all second. Danny Van Wilson there currently in third. Ryan Alpha Gully currently filtering out the first 5 positions out on track. Not a bad lap time at all there from him, and not a good lap time, I'm going to say, from him either. With Lewis in behind there, down an 18th, and Fraser yet to set a lap time. Speaking of Fraser, now coming in toward the right-hander, turn number 1. Again, apologies about drop frames. There is nothing really I can do about this, apart from maybe restart the laptop and create a whole new stream once again, and that will probably not fix anything. So, yeah, hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully you're managing to cope with it. If you're not, then please let me know. Renz Thomason out on top, right at all second, Dan Van Ruyten in third, Fraser through the first sector, 31.5 in the first sector from the CPO man of Fraser. He now runs up the hill into the left-hander of the hander once again, in towards turn 12, then through the left-hander of turn 13, into the left-hander now of turn number 14. Runs wide, coming through turn 14 as well, now running up down running up the hill. Ooh. Apology, if you can hear me, by the way, it is dropping frames quite literally quite a lot. So what I might do is tell me what to do, in fact, in the chat. Tell me what to do. I'm clueless as to what is going on right now. Just constant bitrate drops and constant frame drops, it seems. So, apologies. Renz Thomason, the right on top, Rodadell on second, Danny Van Ruyten there in third. 9 minutes ago in qualifying, we'll try and catch on board with some of the lap times that are actually coming up now. Renz Thomason's on a lap time along with Rodadell. I'm kind of hoping. Really strange. It's dropping like every 3 or 4 or 5 seconds maybe. And then it drops, and then it's fine for a couple of minutes, and then fine. Yeah, I will get a decent PC, definitely. This is not a gaming laptop or anything that I normally run on. It's just purely because Mike is not here, which is why I'm streaming. Rent out on top of Rodadell in second, Danny Van Ruyten there in third. Rodadell is coming through the left-hander of turn number 13 and 14 at the spoon curve. See what the E-Team man can do in this middle sector split. When it does drop frames, I will just shut up, by the way, and hopefully it'll just sort of fix itself. But it won't. 500's up from Rodadell, coming through the middle sector. 110.5 in that middle sector, so pretty good coming through that part of the lap time. Now in towards the right-hander of turn number 15, turn 16, 17, through the Casio triangle. Now through the final corner, into the pit lane. Into the pit lane comes our Rodadell. Renz Thomason there is now coming through the final couple of corners. Does he bail in the pit lane? No, Renz Thomason on the run line should improve. And he does, 26.6. So good lap time there by Renz Thomason. Nordic Ninja there in the chat saying, I'm allergic to full not laggy stream. I am allergic because I want it to be perfect. That's the thing. I want it to be perfect. And if it's not perfect, then it is definitely so. I have been informed, though, by Mr. Michael Edwards. He is here. He's going to be here very soon indeed. I will join the Discord in due course. I could join during the restart after qualifying. I would love if, in fact, actually, I'm going to go slight intermission break for a second. So you will hear music, and I will be back with you in 30 seconds. Apologies about that slight interlude. We are back. Renz Thomason out on top, Rodadell in second, Danny Van Royton there in third. You haven't really missed much, apart from Mustache going into fourth position. So not a bad lap time there at all from him. I was just sending a message to Mike there in the admin chat. That's what I was doing. So apologies that you went into mission for a slight second or so. It seems like everything is beginning to smooth itself down. I dare say that. Whisper it very quietly. It is beginning to try and just stabilise a little bit, which is good. Renz Thomason the right on top, Rodadell second, Dan Van Wilson there in third. But yeah, it's not lagging per se. I'm just dropping frames at the minute. That is what is going on. And it bothers me because normally it is absolutely spot on. I drop 0 frames, maybe a few here and there, and that's it. But I've already dropped like 3,000 frames, which is like 6% of the stream, which might not seem like much, but to me, being OCD is a lot. As Max Power, definitely going to try and fix my troubles right now, coming through 130R. The Austrian in toward the final couple of corners, formerly with VRT back in the day, if you remember that, for Max Power. Now coming to the final corner, on the mental line, might have a little bit of blocking going on there, but he does improve, 27.2, so I don't think that will affect him as a report in terms of that being interference within qualifying at this moment in time. I'm just trying to flick through who's on a lap time right now. Danny Van Royton is on a lap for Team Chazoo. Got to get my Team Chazoo bias in towards them. Now coming through the left-hander of turn number 3, then through the right-hander of turn number 4. Renz, Rodadell, Danny Van Royton, pretty much the top 3 as you expect, is right there right now. Now coming into the left-hander of turn number 6 at the Dunlop curve, or through turn 7 even at the Dunlop curve. Now going towards the Deckers at the end of the first sector. 31.666. But it's down in the first sector from Danny Van Royton by about a tenth of a second. Now comes the hill in toward the left-hander of the hairpin. Ends out on top by Rodadell second, Danny Van Royton third. Can the Dutchman, the 3-time karting champion in real life, the Multimax, Minimax and Rotomax champion from the Netherlands. He is now going to come in towards Spoon Curve, which is the trickiest corner, I've got to say, on this track right now. Has caught quite a few out in the past. Nearly catches Danny Van Royton out on the exit because he runs wide. But he does nicely coming now up the hill into the left-hander of 130R. We'll see what his middle sector is. He's improved in that middle sector, but he is still down on what his lap time would have been. Everything seems to be stabilising, which is good. Renz out on top of Rodadell second, Danny Van Royton there in third. Danny now coming to the final corner, into the pit lane. Typical. Absolutely typical. Boylilo down on a lap time. Epic Vale is on a lap time as well. And Epic Vale, in fact, is actually, I think, going to bail and come into the pit lane, which is really, really good. Apologies, I was just having a look at a message that I received. Renz out on top, Rodadell second, Danny Van Royton there in third. Looks like we have got another driver about to filter out onto the lap time, and that is the EXT man of Glytons. Glytons now coming to the left-hander of turn number 5, then to the right-hander now of turn number 6, into this first sector, where I famously saw Schiaparelli go around the outside of 3 drivers around here in League of Europe. And I commentated on that race and it was very, very good, that move. Hopefully we might see some of the same again here tonight. Glytons is coming through the right-hander now of the Decker 2 and running up the hill and towards the hairpin. With 3 minutes ago, still wide open, I've got to say, this qualifying session right now. And it is Renz out on top from Rodadell on second, Danny Van Royton in third, Mustache there in fourth, Ryan Fraser, Tech, Lafitte, Alpha Gully, Max Power the top 10, and then it's MI Killer NL, Thomas Covers, who's down in 12th, disappointingly I think right now, FRT down in 13th, Epic Vale in 14th, I would expect him to be up there as well, then Finn Bob, Agonized, Glyton, Roy Lilo, and then Lewis, and the other man that we are missing from tonight's session is the other the GT10 man even, so that is why we are down 1 for GT10. I think it's GT10 anyways, yeah, it looks like it's GT10, judging by the names on the left-hand side. Everything seems to have now stabilised, which is good. I'm just going to keep rabbiting on that it is just going to keep on stabilising. Glyton turn on lap, now running down the hill and towards turn number 1. Let's run on board then, with the sun glaring on the right-hand side. It's a very bright livery that Glyton is running. definitely forcing me to go back a few lengths in terms of my commentary and in terms of my length towards the camera. Gaiton's now coming through turn 5, in toward the right hand of turn number 6, and he's backed off. So Gaiton's has backed off, probably realising that he's blinding the commentator more than anything, to be honest there, and he's down in 17th right now. But it is Renz, Radadal, and Danny Van Wouten there, filling out the top 3 positions. Who is next to come across the line? It is Moustache. Famously, Moustache, because he is French. That song in 2014 got nil point at the Eurovision Song Contest and finished last. So Moustache will be hoping at least for no nil point here tonight in Japan and actually try and get his groove on, coming through the right hander now, turn number 6. Into the left hander now, turn number 7. No, the Donald curve. Oh, big snap of oversteer. He can go again, I think. I say that very hesitantly. He's 2.5 tons down. He will continue on with this lap time, but he has backed off. He has backed off. I'm not sure if he's going to get another run in. See if there's any of the main protagonists coming from the first sector split. I think Ryan is one of the furthest on. Through Dunlop curve at turn 7. Now into all the right-hander now, turn number 8. 31.4 up in the first sector. And I think that's purple in the first sector as well from Ryan. So neatly done from the German. As Finbob there is retired from the session. And that is a retirement, I think, in the pit lane. Finbob BRT down in 15th. His teammate Tech is there in 7th right now. So not doing a bad job whatsoever at all. Lenz Thomason though out on top, Rydal in 2nd, Danny Van Wouten there in 3rd, Moustache in 4th. Ryan now coming to the left hand with a spoon curve. Let's run on board with him. Turn the timing tower off on the left hand side just to catch the end of his lap time. Runs wide and then validates. Shouldn't have turned the line off on the left hand side. Moustache is about to go again. He's actually not made it to the line as Moustache, so he will now get another run in. Danny Van Wouten is down. Rydal through the middle sector split is up by a 10.5. So Rydal coming alive here, the Swede, looking to try and out-defeat Renz Thomason. Renz, though, on a lap for ETA. It's currently an ETA 1-2. Might not matter who's in what order. Renz the line, does improve. Does Rydal improve ahead of him, though? Coming through the final corner, on the Renz line, he does improve, but not good enough for Rydal. Danny Van Wouten now, 600 up in the middle sector. On the run to the line, still remains 3rd, but does improve his lap time. Fraser there in 8th, looking quite good. He's 1,000 down in his current lap time, looking to try and get some sort of resemblance in amongst it. Renz out on top, though, from Rydal in 2nd. Danny Van Wouten there in 3rd. Fraser now coming to the right-hander of turn number 18. On the run to the line, does he improve for CPI? Yes, he does, but it's very minimal an improvement. Max Power. At Max Power now, coming through the final couple of corners. Into the left-hander of turn number 17. Through the Casio triangle, through the right-hander of turn number 18. On the run to the line with Max Power. And he goes 11th, so not a bad run there at all from him. Killavanel now coming to the final couple of corners. Oh, he's all squirrely coming out the final corner. He's not improving on the run to the line, I don't think. Yeah, down on his lap time. That is the end of qualifying. We'll run you through the full grid order shortly. We will go to an intermission break, and I will bring my co-commentator in, hopefully, as well. It seems like everything has now calmed itself down, which is good. It might have just been my connection. I might just be going complete over CD. But Renz Thomason out on top by a 10.5. From Rydal there in 2nd. Danny Van Wouten there in 3rd. Alpha Gully there in 4th. And Dan in 5th. Moustache there in 6th. Ryan there in 7th. Fraser in 8th. Tech in 9th. And then Epic Ballet running off the top 10. With Max Power in 11th. Mafiti there in 12th. Both EVE drivers actually on the 6th row of the grid. With Thomas Covers agonised in behind as well. Killer NL. Then it's Boyolilo, Gaitons, Finbob, and then Lewis right down on the bottom end of the field for Team Extoya. We are going to be back with you, I'm sure, in a couple of minutes' time. Renz Thomason the on top, Rydal on 2nd, Danny Van Wouten in 3rd. Enjoy the music, we'll be back in a few minutes. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Esports Masters League. It is Season 7, it's Console 1, it is round number 2 of the championship. We take in the Japanese Grand Prix here tonight. A quick reminder before we get going live into the action. Team Chizu leading the way on 41 points, with ETA in second on 38, NLR in third on 37, Grand Track 10 in 4th on 25, then Future Racing Team in 5th on 22, CPI in 6th on 16, Top Team Motorsport in 7th on 12, Bunga Racing Team in 8th on 11, and then Team Extoria in 9th on 9th even on 8 points. Clearly, I can't read the graphic. And Visio there in 10th on 0 points as well. Joining me alongside in the commentary box, I hope he's here anyways. I did see the desktop audio flick up. It is Mr. Michael Edwards. Mike, how you doing?
I am doing good, James. Looking forward to this one. I'd like to apologise for running late here tonight, but we are here for those 5 red lights, and we're here for some great action around Suzuka.
We are here for some great action around Suzuka indeed. Lawrence, by the way, has put in the chat, I donate 99 cents for a better PC. Honestly, the last 20 minutes, I haven't dropped a frame, so everything seems fine now. So we're going to run on my end. If not, Mike's got everything up on his end, and we'll do exactly what we did last week and just chop and change if needs be. Looking at those championship standings, though, top 3 teams, separated by 4 points coming into tonight. We've got the likes of Ren Thomason, Alpha Gully, Danny Van Ruyten right up there in the mix. So we should see the likes of NLR, ETA, and Chizu coming good again.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's the teams that we expected there, James. Shizu, ETA, NLR have always shown fantastic consistency in the past, and I mean, it's not surprised to see them up there again. It really isn't.
It isn't, and do you know what? I think honestly, this race could be very special. We saw PSF1 around here, and I commentated on that PSGL PSF1 race in Japan. Oh my god, what a race it was. Go and watch it back on the PSGL channel if you do not know what I'm on about, because it was one of the most insanest races I think I might have ever seen. The final few laps were just absolutely epic. Hopefully, we're going to be treated to the same here tonight in Japan, and hopefully, everything will go okay as well. Looking through the chat, by the way, get your predictions in who you think is going to win this race. Mike, quickly before we start, who do you think is going to win?
Ooh, no, you're putting me on the spot, but yeah. Oof. Ja, I think Renz may take the win.
Renz. Do you know what? We're both in agreement. I was also going to say Renz. I know we start on pole, and it's the blinding obvious choice. But he won around here, I think, in PSL, PSF1. So he has got very good form. Coming in, not only into tonight, he won on Monday as well. So he has got very good form. Coming into tonight, he won a team event on Sunday as well. Competitive Speed Series, I think it was. Or CTC, one of the two. But he has got form. He's coming into tonight in good form. And hopefully we get to see the best of him here tonight. Hopefully we're going to get going very soon indeed. It is all up to Ryan to send the invites out and to send everyone away for the 5 red lights, which hopefully we should be seeing very, very soon indeed. So tonight is going to be the night potentially where championships begin to be forged, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's called the continue on with what's called the podium prediction. Obviously, never mind. We'll go to the 5 red lights.
5 red lights about to go out here for round 2 of the championship in EML Console 1, and it is Ren Thomason who leads the way off the line, and alongside him, Ryderdal doesn't get a good start, and he has to defend off Danny Van Ruyten to the inside line, pretty much like Ayrton Senna. Prost-esque coming through the first corners there between them both, and Ryderdal somehow managed to squeeze out for P2. Alpha Gully and Danny Van Ruyten, the Shizu boys, are side by side coming to the first sector. Also in behind as well, Fraser and Epic Vale, and I think Graffiti and Thomas Covers are right in there as well. But Ren's there leading the way through the first sector, up through the Dunlop curve for the first time, going around the outside there. In the background, I think there's Boy Lulo around the outside of Agonize. Agonize dropping down the field. Sixer wheel and the gravel, I think he's dropping down in toward the Deckners, but Renz leads the way. Ryderdal in second, Alpha Gully there in third. Most drivers on a set of medium compound tyre, Mike. Dan goes the inside line of Danny Van Ruyten.
Yeah, Dan there with the inside line. I was looking at a battle in the midfield as well between Epic and Fraser into the hairpin as well, side by side between those two momentarily. So it is all action, all kicking off immediately on lap 1, James.
All action stations here in Japan now coming to the left hand. Epic Vale to the inside on there as well. on Fraser. They're going to run side by side up the hill, in toward the fastest part of the track, in toward 130R. This is going to be epic, and Fraser gets ahead on the run, and Ryan, I think, is right on the back as well. Of FLT Dan pulls to the outside line, in toward the Cassia Triangle entrance, doesn't go for the move. Nobody going for the move, I don't think, in behind, apart from Thomas Covers, who gets caught up with Lafitte. Both of them are spinning round, Lafitte and Thomas Covers round. That is disappointing for EVE, disappointing as well for Thomas Covers for TTM. Renslow leading the way, Rydell in second, Alpha Gully, Sea Gully as I nickname him, trying to go around the outside of turn 1.
Yeah, Alpha Gully really trying to get through on these guys up ahead of him, and obviously I think to point out is obviously Alpha Gully on the set of the mediums versus the top two on the set of hards, and of course Danny Van Rooten and behind him also on the set of hards.
Yeah, and that's what I think he wants to try and do on this sort of medium compound tyre. Get everyone right under the cosh early on and try and just fend off the attention to the hard runners a little bit later on in their stint. Medium compound tyres, by the way, should last around about 9 or 10 laps, and then we'll begin to see pit stops from around then. Hard compound tyres could potentially make it to a soft stint, and they could make it 20 laps within this race as well. There is Spinner in the background. Boyalulo was being sent round through the hairpin, and I think that was contact, maybe with either Max Power or Gaiton, to a side-by-side into the spoon curve now, coming to the left-hand with 13 and 14, Max Power in 11, Epic Vale there in 10, but if you're Boyalulo, you are going to be counting your lucky chickens that you're still in the race.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course Royal Lulu, got the pleasure of commentating over him.
Oh,
and,
Alpha Gully!
Oh
my
Alpha
God,
Gully.
Alpha Gully!
That is
unintentional, I think. Very unintentional, I've got to be honest. And look at this, it's nearly 6 wide, running down the straight and towards turn 1. It could be 2, could be 3, could be 4 wide if we're not careful. Rotterdam leads, Ren's in second, Dan now all of a sudden in the mix, Danny Van Rooten there in third. Somehow they get him with that absolutely clean skate, but Alpha Gully, out of all of that, has now dropped down into 7th. That was an unintentional move. I think he actually missed his breaking point completely. Forced Ren's off, forced Danny Van Rooten needing to go off as well. Epic Vale and Fraser, Epic Vale around the outside of Fraser in the background. Hell of a move from the Italian. Liena Lowman, Thuni's into 9. Fraser has been absolutely done like a kipper around the outside. Job done for Epic Vale. Thuni's into 9. Back onto the quick point though that I was making with Alpha Gully. Actually, I'm not going to make that point because it's still side by side between Fraser and Epic Vale in toward the hairpin.
Yeah, Fraser and Epic Vale really going at it into the hairpin, and Fraser getting back through the better traction on the outside line, on the exit of the hairpin. But we're going to see if Epic Vale is going to be able to come back at him. I'm currently on board with Max Power looking at this battle in front of me of Fraser and Epic Vale. So, yeah, these guys are definitely getting their elbows out and showing what they're made of.
A wall of cars between himself and everyone else right now. Danny Van Rooten on the back of Rens Thomason. These two came to blows along with Cameron Dowds on Monday night in Jeddah and also around here in Japan. And they'll be hoping for more of the same here tonight. Hopefully a little bit cleanly as well between the two of them, as Rotterdam is under pressure from the back of Rens Thomason. Rens are acting as a bit of a guinea pig right now for ET8. Currently in ET8 1-2. Danny Van Rooten is closing up, but he's not going to go for the move. Actually, he tries to get a box in towards turn 1. Goes around the outside of turn number 2. He's still going to be side by side and actually gets a phenomenal run. But there's the box effect. Kicked in by ET8. Renz leads the way. Rotterdam in second. Shazoo won't like that. ET8 will absolutely love that.
Rotterdam obviously paying dividends here for his teammate, because I think without the box effect there from Rotterdam, I think Danny Van Rooten might have just had enough to try and get the move done as we entered the S's there.
Definitely so, yeah. I think, honestly, I know it's all team tactics and everything, but Mateo has literally put it right there in the chat. You shall not pass. Yeah, it is dare not who wants to try and get the move. I think out on track here tonight is Alpha Gully, speaking to Shazoo, is side by side with Mustache. Mustache, who was clean shaven around Jeddah on Monday, probably a little bit shaven now with that move. He's just doing he's into 6. Alpha Gully there in 7, Tech there in 8. But Rens Thomason leading the way. And for the first time, I've got to be honest, he looks like he's about to pull away. Oh, Dan is nearly in the wall. Dan nearly in the wall. Not sure if he got a little bit of contact there, if we just had a big snap of oversteer. One of the two happened. Dan is lucky to stay in this race.
Yeah, Dan really fortunate to not put that in the wall. Meanwhile, Danny Van Rooten up into P2 as well.
Oh, and Fraser and Tech get caught in each other, nearly in toward the pit lane. Oh, nearly in the pit wall was Fraser there as well. Now we're going to get side by side between Rotterdam and Danny Van Ruyten, maybe down in towards turn 1. Everything's staying line as turn for now. This is unbelievable. This is madness early on. Ren's leading the way. Danny Van Ruyten second, Rotterdam in third. To put into perspective, by the way, in terms of steward reports last week, we had 14 steward reports. I think early on, Mike, in this race, we're probably going to get as many, if not more.
Yeah, potentially, as everyone trying to make these moves early on. Of course, with all the cars bunched up, very easy to make a mistake, especially when a circuit like Suzuka, where the margin for error is incredibly low.
An Epic Veil, speaking of which, nearly made a mistake on the outside curve. Fraser, Lafiti, and M Killer, by the way, have got onto the back of this train. It's now an 18-car train for the race lead at this moment in time, which is pure madness. I think we had the same in Jeddah on Monday night as well. Renslow leading the way, Danny Van Ruyten in second, Radadel currently there in third. Nordic Ninja saying DVR is P2, by the way. He is P2, Danny Van Ruyten. I was thinking that was a team rather than a driver. The initials of DVR, Danny Van Ruyten. DVR, of course, a famous player, I think, a DVD player that, of course, was happening in the 1990s and everything. Mike and me probably of the age to think about a DVR here, but Danny Van Ruyten now coming through the final couple of corners at the Casio Triangle. He is going to set his sights on Ren, just whether or not he goes for the move. In fact, he will go for the move because he's going to pull alongside, down the straight, in towards turn number 1. Pulls alongside, threatens the attention to the Dutchman. Rodadel and Ryan are side by side as well. Could be 2 for 2 Noah's Ark, and it is going to be 2 for 2 Noah's Ark. We come in toward the middle the first sector, into the middle part of the first sector, and Ryan and Rodadel having a huge fight, and Ryan gets the move. Ryan Thuni's into third, Rodadel in fourth. 2 former teammates back in the day, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is big for Danny Van Ruyten and for Ryan to split the 2 ET8 drivers right there.
It is, and Ryan now, with that sort of medium compounded tyres, I fear, though, those mediums are going to go off before these hards do, and that will cost them. There's a run wide in the background, I think, from Lafiti in the background, running very wide, and running very wide as well. Epic Veil to the inside line of Dan. That was, by all intents and purposes, to me, a little bit of a push to pass for the Italian man on the front of the Brit. Dan now behind him. Dan there in 8, Epic Veil in 7. Just whether or not Dan can go for that move remains to be seen, but my perspective, I just caught on the ball with that actually, and it looked to me as if it was a tiny bit push to pass.
Well, I mean, I was on board with Dan as he went into the hairpin, and it did seem like it might have been a little bit of contact from behind on Dan, and then obviously Epic Veil able to get through on the inside line. But I mean, we'll have to see. Of course, Dan right now obviously could also have a bit of grass on his tires.
And there's a yellow flag, and agony for Agonize, who was round at the Casio Triangle. He's got back going again in the yellow coloured car right down at the bottom end of the field on your track map, if you're following on the right-hand side. On the track, he's down in 19th position right now. So as one FRT man tries to make positions, one FRT man has lost positions in Agonize. And speaking of losing positions, Alpha Gully being thrown completely out wide through the Dunlop curve. Has got Mustache to turn ahead of him as well. Alpha Gully, though, just get the sense that they're running in a bit of dirty air, and this is causing maybe a few issues with people running wide.
Yeah, and for Alpha Gully, and he's obviously going to be slightly frustrated.
God.
Oh, I'm so close to
Fraser.
the back of Mustache.
That was Fraser, who, all intents and purposes, would not have went for that move. There was a gap to the inside line. There are gaps, and there are gaps that will close off. And I think Fraser has just found out that probably going for that move wasn't the brightest idea, I'll be honest, for the CPR man. He has got Lewis running wide ahead of him, so will gain on the back of the EXT man. Currently out on top, though, Danny Van Ruyten leading the way. Ren's in second, Ryan in third. Lap 7 out of 27, and there's about as much action as you get in the 2024 Paralympics in Paris. Danny Van Ruyten leading the way, Ren's in second, Ryan there in third. At this moment in time, Mike, if you were any of these drivers right now, where would you be in terms of positioning out on track and in this train? Because I'm looking aboard with Ryan, and I'd be him right now, sitting on the back with 40% of ERS and actually gaining that battery back throughout this lap.
Yeah, Ryan's just playing it smart right now. He's saving his ERS battery. He knows basically all he needs to do is get a good run out of the Casio Triangle. versus obviously Danny Van Ruyten and Ren's up ahead, but he needs that extra bit of battery to try and get the overtake done. And he is going to save that up over the course of this lap. I mean, look at right now, he's already up to 85% battery.
Yeah, note that, and it is very, very quick in terms of gaining the battery back, I must say, on this game as well. The FRT man, Bell Roffix there in the chat, saying to NLO, if you let him back through, we won't report him getting punted 25 metres deep. If that happens, honestly, that will be a report, and I will do that report myself, so there you go. That is a cast iron guarantee if that does happen. In the end, though, Epic Vale is still ahead of Dan, so it looks like FRT are going to be putting that report in.
Yeah, for right now, you don't know what maybe the engineer will be on the mic to Epic Vale saying you have to get the position back.
To be fair, though, he doesn't really need to give the position back, because if anything, he's right on the back of Alpha Gully now, coming through the final couple of corners. So if he's there, as Max and Tech are fighting side by side, in the gravel, nearly in the pit lane, and he is in the pit lane because he's got left side end plate damage on that car, has Max Power. So Max Power needs the gods, I think, to try and intervene in this race. He's now right down toward the back end of the field.
Yeah, but this could be a blessing for Max Power. Of course, I'm not sure if I saw the front wing end change there for Max Power, so it might not be as a blessing as initially thought, but having the run in clear air, whilst everyone else is fighting up ahead, on fresh hearts, he definitely could have jumped up the order quite a bit.
Judging by how long he's took in the pit lane, and judging by being 14 seconds behind Boyolulo, I think he's had a front wing change. Or has he not repaired it?
He hasn't had a front wing change. He's not had a front wing change. He's still missing that front left end plate.
So it's very similar then to Monday night, where I can't remember the name for the life of me, but one of the drivers continued on with a bit of damage in Jeddah, and that got worse and worse. I think it was a GT10 driver, if I'm not mistaken. Might have been somebody. Anyways, I'll come back to that in due course. Renz leads the way, Danny Van Ruyten in second, Ryan there in third, Ryder in fourth. For the first time, the front foot just beginning to pull away. Mustache can't really keep the pace on Rodadal, on the pace of Ryan either. They now will Constantine up into the Casio Triangle, but these medium compounded tyres, Mike, I think for Mustache, he has a huge snap of oversteer coming in towards the apex of the corner at the Casio Triangle. Those mediums are wearing. Alpha Gully knows that. He's into the pit lane. Mustache is continuing on. Honestly, if I was Mustache there, I would have tried to Tokyo drift that back into the pit lane because those tyres are going.
Yeah, it seems like the mediums are beginning to fall away. One thing I was going to say and bring up as well, James, is the fact that we are starting to see a split happen now, obviously between Dan in 7th and, of course, Mikela in 8th place. The split has happened in the midfield, so we're starting to get a split in the groups now. So we've got our front group, and then we've got our tail end of the top 10 group.
Yeah, definitely. And Ren's currently holding the lead of the race, 75% of ERS. Now getting that back up to 80% as he comes through Decker 2 there. Danny Van Ruyten and behind 94% and Ryan on 91. So they are pretty much in the ballpark of being quite even in terms of the ERS usage right now. That's also good news as well if you're engineering the team, because I've just given out a little bit of ERS and a little bit of fun facts as well for the engineers there to try and decipher what their strategy is going to be when to pick lane, things like that. Ren's still leading the way. Danny Van Ruyten in second, Ryan there in third. If anything, I think Ryderdal is looking quickest out of the front four right now. Renz and Danny haven't really done anything to really bite home about. Ryan there in third, Ryderdal in fourth. Ryderdal looks very quick in a straight line. It's just whether or not that translates into the corners as he hits the back of Ryan.
Yeah, as you say that, as Ryan peels off into the pit, so I mean, you were spot on around lap 10. We should start to see people thinking about coming into the pits. It's Danny Van Ruyten back for on Renz up into the race lead once again as we begin lap number 11.
And maybe that is the thing about it, as Lafitte gets moved on Killer. Lafitte, of course, replacing George Ansel here tonight for EVE. EVE looking for their first point of the season and looking quite good with Lafitte there in fourth as well, getting that moved on. Everyone that's came in the pit lane, just so it's not inevitable, everyone's on a set of hard compound tyres, and Ryan is ahead of Alpha Gully. Alpha Gully's ahead of Epic Vale. Epic Vale is still ahead of Dan, though, coming out of the pit lane. So Ryan and Alpha Gully, that gap between 1.3 seconds, that could be good if he closes that up, but my fear is Ryan's got more battery, about 25% more battery than Alpha Gully. Alpha Gully's going to have to use his tyres up on this lap and use that ERS up on this lap. Ryan could easily pull away, and there could be a big gap between Ryan and Alpha Gully if they're not careful.
Yeah, and I was looking at Alpha Gully for the S's, and I definitely did not look comfortable for the S's. It seemed like a little bit twitchy through the S's. It seemed like he had a little bit of understeer midway through it, and it's just caught him off guard.
Oh, I thought it was going to be side by side towards Spoon Curve. He ruined it. Agonise. He's pulled out the move. I would say he's bottled out of that move as Agonise. He was looking on the back of Boy Lilo. Is he going to go for the move up the hill and towards 130 yard? This is the closest battle we've got out on track. He's bump drafting them up the hill. That is it within the rules and regulations? We might have to check the fine print for that, but Agonise is bump drafting Boy Lilo coming through into the Casio triangle. Oh, and he nearly puts Boy Lilo out wide as well. Then Thomason retakes the race lead and Danny Van Ruyten in towards turn 1. And now Agonise is going to go for the move to the inside on Boy Lilo. Easy as you like. Wait and be patient. Even with a bit of bump drafting, the FRT man, who has got right side end plate damage, is doing his into 8.
Yep. Yeah, FRT man getting through up into P8 he goes. And we got the battle now for P15 between Mustache and Max Power, as Mustache does get through. Where Max Power could have been if he didn't get that wing damage. That's what I would have liked to have seen, because he's definitely lost a lot of time, especially in this first sector with that damaged front wing.
It must be at least green, maybe towards like the yellowy orange, I think, that you get in terms of front wing damage on the car. I think that's what Max Power has got right now. It doesn't look too bad. Oh, as soon as I said that, I shouldn't commentate his curse. And he's runs wide, and he's going to get more damage if he's not careful. He rejoins the track, but he should have came in the pit lane. That is the cast iron rule, I think, of him now finding that out. He should have came in the pit lane, prepared that front wing, and then he wouldn't have ran wide coming through the Deckners, which you referenced there, Mike, coming through the double right-handers. That is where he's losing it. Speaking of losing it, Danny Van Ruyten nearly loses it through the final corner. Now puts Renz at 6 cents of a second, and now Roderdal is all over the back of Danny Van Ruyten, running down the straight and towards turn 1. Danny Van Ruyten says, nah, you're not coming through. Roderdal says, you know what, I'll leave it. Roderdal back in third.
Yeah, Danny Van Ruyten, they're doing some good defensive work to make sure that Roderdal could not get the inside line. As we had Mika getting through on Lafiti, and of course Thomas Covers getting through on Finn.
Yep, Thomas Covers through on Finn as well. Epic Vale going for the move on Alpha Gully. That's down the straight, I think, in towards turn 1. Dan, in fact, has got both of them. So Dan can now say he's ahead of Epic Vale out on track, and FRT might not necessarily put that report in now. Epic Vale there in 12, Alpha Gully there in 13. So Dan through on both of them. Nice move up into 11. That is currently, if we're in the whole grand scheme of things, Mike, that's actually a net P2 potentially out on track.
Yeah, potentially. And again, I jumped on board with Alpha Gully and through the SS. He does not look comfortable through there at all.
He doesn't, and that's what I saw in the background. Maybe he's got a little bit of damage on that car, I wonder. Just trying to see if there's any visible damage. There isn't. But I wonder if he's either just got a completely different setup on towards everyone else is running around him, or if he has got a slight bit of damage. I think it is more slight bit of damage I'm leaning to rather than anything else.
Yeah, but I mean, it could be. Oh, that's right at there, catching a big snap coming out of the Castle Triangle. Danny Van Ruyten goes for the race lead. Lap 14 of 27, Danny Van Ruyten back into the race lead, but right at there. What a catch that was from the ET8 man. And
surely these guys, you would think, are going to go for set of medium compound tyre. We're at the halfway stage. Finn, Bob and Thomas Covers side by side down towards turn number 1. But Roderdal, his tyres are now going. It's like Mustache, what I referenced a little bit earlier on. His tyres went and then he came into the pit lane. Roderdal's tyres are going. He should now come in the pit lane. But it's whether or not, Mike, those mediums can last 13 laps to the end of the race, as there's a yellow flag, and that is coming out of the pit lane. Is that Boyalulo, or is that Lewis? In fact, no, it's Dayton's actually. He was crashed, I think, coming through the final corner. He's into the pit lane.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've clocked this, James, but I'm looking at the clouds up above. Obviously, we do have a bit of blue sky, so I don't think it'll get too wet tires or anything. But there's definitely some grey clouds out there that could potentially play a factor late in this race.
I'm honestly not noticing much change. Normally you see when the cloud comes over, normally you see a lot of change in terms of the visibility actually out on track. I don't see any of that. I see at the minute it's going to be a dry race. But then again, I've been wrong with many things in my lifetime as a commentator. That might just be one of them that's going to come back to haunt me later on this live stream. Danny Van Roten leading the way. Rens Thomason there in second. Rodadell there in third. Looks like the Feety's going to go for the move on the back of ML Killer NL. MI Killer NL even. The Feety through and he's into fourth. MI Killer NL there in fifth. And there, Thomas covers. Going through and he's into sixth as well. And it looks like Ryan is going to go for the move and agonise. Running down the straight and toward turn one. The FLT man using up all of the battery as much as possible. Ryan on the outside line gets the job done. Ryan now puts himself between himself and his own teammate and FRT as well with Dan. So this could get quite intense between NLR and FRT.
Absolutely. Again, I'm going on board with Alpha Gully because I just want to see how he's handling these the S's, and honestly, he's lost about 3 attempts to Tech in behind. Well, he's lost more than 3 attempts now as they come up through Dunlop Curb. He's lost half a second in that first sector.
Yeah, he has, and that is definitely concerning. He's gaining that back now, though, on the back of Dan. Tech is 1.1 seconds off the back of them, so shouldn't really be too much of concern at this stage of the race. Danny, though, leading the way. Rens Thomason there in second, or Rens Thomason, as Evan Dalton says alongside me in the commentary box on Monday nights. Rodadell there in third as well. Looking really strong, I've got to say, the top 3. It's whether or not, though, these mediums can go to the end. Danny Van Roten's about to prove that theory. He's into the pit lane. Set of mediums will go on. Just about gets the car stopped. 47 mile an hour there coming into the pit lane. Danny Van Roten in, Lafiti in, MI Killer NL in. So CPI, EVE, and Danny Van Roten for Team Jazoo are all into the pit lane. Where is Ryan? Coming through the final corner. Where is Epic Vale and Dan? That's where I'm thinking he's going to come out. And actually, Danny Van Roten, could he come out between both of this battle? I think he will. I think he's going to be ahead of Dan. He is. Danny Van Roten is ahead of Dan, coming out of the pit lane for now. And that is huge for Team Jazoo. Also huge if you're a hard runner ahead.
Yeah, absolutely huge for Danny Van Roten. So we should be seeing Rydell and Rens responding on this upcoming lap. So they would have got the information he's come out into that gap between Ryan and Agonize. And they're definitely going to have to follow suit so that they can try and get into that gap as well. But it's going to be interesting to see just how far off the back of Danny Van Roten and Ryan, both Rens and Rydell are going to be. Yeah,
definitely so. It is going to be intriguing. Speaking of which, intriguing, FRT getting the elbows out, agonised, and Dan is side by side, and Dan's now going to attack the back of Epic Vale. Maybe a little bit of retribution coming in from a little bit early on, and that slight push to pass that we saw at the hairpin. Oh, Epic Vale catches the curb very neatly, coming to the left-hander of turn number 14 through the spoon curve. Alpha Gully is on the back of Agonize. Agonize was forced out wide there by Alpha Gully.
It looked like a little bit of a bubble touch between the pair of them, and that unsettled Agonize on the exit of Spoon, and it allowed Alpha Gully to get through. But yeah, both of them make it through without any major catastrophes, which is good to see. As we have Danny Van Roten getting through on Ryan now. Up in the P5 goes the Team Shazoo man. And now all he needs to do is just continue to build that gap off of Ryan, as he should have the grip advantage and the pace advantage to do that.
Yeah, definitely so. Bear with me. I'm just going to send this message to somebody very quickly indeed. There we are. Job done. Rodadell leading the way from Rens Thomason in second. Thomas covers there in third. He's been on board with Epic Vale for the last lap or so. Dan and Alpha Gully involved as well, as Mike mentioned earlier on as well. Let's focus our attentions, though, on the battle for the lead. Rodadell and Rens Thomason still yet to come in the pit lane. Actually quite surprised, Mike, that at this moment in time, neither of them have decided to come in the pit lane. They must be banking on these medium compound tyres going off on the likes of Danny Van Roten, on the likes of Lafiti and MI Killer NL further down the field. And speaking of which, there's a yellow flag. That is Boyalulo. I think round. Renz Thomason going for the race lead on the inside line of Rodadol. Into the Casio triangle. Gets the job done. The Dutchman now ahead of the Swede. The Swede's going to now try and come back at him. But Renz jukes him into the pit lane. That's typical Renz Thomason. Rodadol nearly hits the back of Renz into the pit lane. Let's hope they're not in the same pit lane. And judging by this, they're not. They're in pretty much adjacent pit boxes, which is good. But they're both in the pit lane. Finn Bob in. Danny Van Rooyen now coming past camera shot on the right-hand side of your, or the left-hand side of your screen very soon. They're going to come out in the gap between Ryan and Epic Vale. Or are they going to be side by side with Dan and Epic Vale coming out of the pit lane? They are. They're going to be right there in amongst it. And pitting earlier in the race, Mike, has done them wonders.
Yeah, I mean, I did bring up the fact that they might need to respond immediately to try and get into that gap. Obviously, they left it an extra lap, and I think that extra lap has made all the difference here because now they are behind Epic Vale and Dan, and they are not going to make it easy for Renz or Ryder Dal here. And in fact, Alpha Gully splitting the two ET8 drivers. That's big for Shazoo, with Alpha Gully splitting them. But big snap there from Alpha Gully and Ryder Dal.
No way.
On the outside, we'll turn to the inside for the hairpin.
Oh, he's gone too deep. That's easy.
Yep. Job done.
Easy as you like for the man, right at all there. Getting the move done on Alpha Gully. Alpha Gully there looking pretty much like a C Gully down in 8th position. Tech there in 9th. I don't know why I get C Gully from. It's just catching on, I think, with his name. Thomas Covers leads the way. Danny Van Rooyen in 2nd. Ryan there in 3rd. Agonising Lafiti side by side. Coming out of camera shot there slightly, coming through Spoon Curve. Now on the run toward 130R, could be 3 wide actually, between Killer NL for CPI, Agonising Lafiti, all 3 teams, EVE, CPI and FRT involved in this battle. Agonizer don't think has actually repaired that front wing damage either on his right side end plate. There's 3 wide.
Ren's trying to make it 3 wide, he's going to have the inside line, it's going to be 3 wide into turn 1. As
Job done.
Epic Vale will lose out on both positions as both Dan and Renz get through on the NLR driver. Up in the P4 goes Renz, and now he can try to begin his hunt of Ryan and Danny Van Rooyen up ahead.
Thomas Covers, apparently, according to Nordic Ninja, is apparently trying to make it to the end of the race. Well, at the minute, Mustache is there in 10th, so he is going to try and put the TTM car on the line. He's got to think about his teammate further down the field. Danny Van Rooyen, though, going for the overtake. In towards the hairpin, doesn't manage it. Maybe down into the hill. In towards 130R. Those tyres are gone. Danny Van Rooyen's through. Thomas Covers has been disposed of very easily indeed. Danny Van Rooyen leading the way on that set of medium compound tyres. Ryan there is going to be in a net second when Thomas decides to come in the pit lane. But whatever Thomas was thinking, whether it's not it's to cause Danny Van Rooyen a little bit of helter-skelter in terms of that battling, he needs to think about coming in the pit lane and actually trying to get points for his team. As again, round further down the field with the VSC is Max Power, who has lost his front wing. So Max Power loses his front wing. Thomas Covers now could get a free pit stop.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just about to say this has worked out brilliantly for Thomas Covers, especially where the VSC has been deployed as he's about to enter the pit lane. You should get a huge advantage here as into the pit he'll go, and we're going to see where he's going to come out to. I think he's going to come out around the Lafiti Mikela region.
I think it's good. Yeah, I was thinking that, to be honest, as well. I think it's going to be more Fraser Agonize, potentially. Agonize maybe coming in to repair his front wing damage there as well. Thomas Covers is going to rejoin behind Mad Dogs. So he is going to be now sent to the wolves, quite literally, with Mad Dogs ahead of him out on track. Thomas Covers there in 14th. Medium compound tyres, though, that is definitely good towards the end of the race. Oh! As he slows down, and there's a VSC, and there's quite a few drive-through penalties just popped up there as well. Thomas Covers has got a drive-through penalty, and so was Max Power, and so was Alpha Gully. Alpha Gully there in 7th, currently in what, a net? Yeah, he's in 7th position right now. He's got a drive-through, as is Thomas Covers, as is Max Power. I am absolutely certain all 3 of them are going to go to the stewards because it looked as if, certainly from Thomas Covers' perspective, he had to slow up coming out of the pit lane. It was just about to go green, and he hasn't slowed up in time. And it looked like he was trying to get let through Finn Bob, and I think it was Mad Dogs as well that he was trying to let through.
I think potentially would have been EXT Lewis
Yeah, that's him.
and Finn Bob. Uh, but yeah, I mean, absolute catastrophe there for Thomas Covers and several drivers picking up drive-through penalties there. But I'm looking at this battle right now for P4 in this race as FRT Dan under pressure from Rydell and Epic Vale here. And meanwhile, in behind you got Tech getting through on Mustache and Rydell through, Epic Vale through. Job done, and that is losing 2 spots here for the FRT man.
And Alpha Gully there is into the pit lane, and is he serving up his drive-through penalty, or has he just served his 10-second penalty that he's just picked up? No, he gets his drive-through penalty served. He probably won't give one iota about that 10-second penalty he's just picked up. He's there down in 16th. Team Shazoo have had their race ruined, I think, in a certain way, there with Alpha Gully picking up that penalty. But they can still reap the reward. Danny Van Rooyen there leading the way. Ryan and Ren Thomason, though, NLR and ETA are 4 points behind and 3 points behind, respectively, in terms of the title fight. And speaking of Ren Thomason, there he goes, absolutely idling past Ryan, as if he's not even there. Ren's into second, Ryan there in third. Watch out, Danny Van Rooyen. There's another Dutchman on the hunt.
Yeah, and Ren's with slightly fresher tyres. He definitely will be able to get to the end and still have plenty of grip in those tyres. And it's all going to be about if Danny Van Rooyen can maintain the gap that he has and keep his tyres in good nick. And honestly, for Ren's as well, this is going to be interesting because in terms of the ERS at the moment, Ryan has more of it, so he could come back at him here in the turn 1.
He could, but I think his tyres are now really dying off, I think, compared to everyone else. Ryan, on that set of hard, they should get to the end of the race. So I'm very surprised they're dropping off this quick. It's just because I think purely he hasn't had anybody around him to fight. And speaking of fights, I'm going to cut myself in because there's 3 wide down the straight. There goes Killer NL. There goes Lafiti. And Mustache has been done 2 for 1 down the straight. So Lafiti through into 8. Killer NL there in 9th and Mustache there in P10. What I was about to say about Ryan, my concern would be those hards getting to the end of the race. I think they will. I think 16-lap all hards will, but it's just whether or not he can fend off the attentions of his former teammate Rydell, or whether this could be a wider ploy to help out his teammate there in 5th.
Well, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, right now, obviously, with the tyre advantage that both of the ETA guys are going to have this 7-lap fresher and they're on a softer compound. So I would expect Renz and Rydell to have the pace of Ryan at this stage in the race. And honestly, I would expect them to maintain the advantage all the way to the end of the race, actually, with that. But for Ryan, I think it's all about staying close as possible to Renz and timing this overtake when it matters most.
Definitely so. Renz, though, is beginning to hunt down on the back of Danny Van Rooyen as a 10-second penalty is picked up for Max Power for speeding in the pit lane. Another one that probably doesn't give one iota about that 10-second penalty he has just received. Danny Van Rooyen, though, leading the way. Lap 23 out of 27. Renz there in second is closing the gap. The corners will really work to Renz's advantage in terms of those tyres. It's just whether or not he can drag Ryan along with him. Ryan gets dragged along here as Thomas Covers picks up a 10-second penalty for corner cutting further down the field. That is him definitely done now out of the race. 10-second penalty done, and that is him out of the race, retiring in the pit lane. 1.5 seconds now. Danny Van Rooyen leading, Renz in second, Ryan there in third. What I didn't expect from this battle, Mike, is Ryan is keeping up with Renz. He's keeping on terms with Renz as well. Renz is dragging Danny Van Rooyen into play. We could see Rydell dragging Epic Vale into play. So potentially we could get a front 5 battle before the end of this race is done.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all going to be about if Renz can get himself inside that DRS window, which I think he should with the pace he's shown so far. He is absolutely flying onto the back of the Team Shazoo man. And a good run out here out of Spoon, and he could potentially be within DRS range.
Very much so, as Thomas Covers there leaves the session. Covers have definitely come off his session, haven't they? Out on track. Danny Van Rooyen leading the way. Renz in second. Ryan there in third. Renz is barely outside of a second. 1.2 seconds the current gap between Renz and Danny Van Rooyen. Danny Van Rooyen, of course, a 3-time karting champion in real life. Motormax, Minimax, Rotomax, I think they go from his title winning championships in real life. Now he's got to use that all to the sword. He is now going to put himself to the sword because Rens Thomason is right there or thereabouts. He won on Monday in PSGL, PSF1. He won around here in Japan as well. And Rens, if you want anybody to be in the situation right now, Shizu against ET8 seems like the battle. Ryan's now been dropped. The front two are going to go out of hammer and tongs. And do you know what, Mike? We may as well just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing to keep our eye on as well, James. Rydal is almost within DRS range of Ryan, so that final podium position is not signed, sealed, and delivered just yet. We could have get a double ET8 podium in this race.
And I was going to say Ryan could help maybe Epic Vale, but Epic Vale's now dropped off 2.8, 2.9 seconds now, the gap between himself and Rydal. Danny Van Ruyten, though, leading the way. Rens in second. Danny just goes out wide there slightly, coming through Spoon Curve. Rens much tighter to the line, now running up the hill and towards 130R. This is beginning to come to its crescendo point. In now towards the final 3 laps of this race. Remember, no VSE, all safety cars out on track. Danny Van Ruyten leading the way, Rens there in second. These two get tactical though. Ryan, Rydal are in the fight.
Yep, and we're going to see what is going to happen. I'll see the gap between the battle for first and the battle for third. 2.1 seconds, but we should be seeing Rens get the job done here in turn 1 as Rydal gets through on Ryan as well. So it's a double ET8 overtake right there down the start finish straight.
And do you know what? Who that is very good for? Danny Van Ruyten, because he can now use up all of that battery, save it up now throughout the course of this lap, and try and keep tabs with Rens. It's just though whether or not those 2 lap older tyres with Danny Van Ruyten can keep up. He's so good coming through Dunlop Curve. He's on the attack. Is he going to go for the attack to the inside line? What a move that is! Danny Van Ruyten out of the gods to the inside line, in towards Degner 1, runs out wide through Degner 2. Rens Thomason with a full amount of battery on the back of him, fakes the move in towards the hairpin. Ryan coming back into play as well. Danny Van Ruyten though, absolutely outmastered Rens to the inside line. That, I think, goes down in the books here in EML as possibly a karting style move from Danny Van Ruyten.
Honestly, that's probably an early contender for a potential overtake of the season right there from Danny Van Ruyten. That is not an area where you see many overtakes happen, any overtakes at all, into the first Degner. But Danny Van Ruyten finding the grip out of Dunlop, getting the job done, and back into the race lead he goes.
Definitely, and now with 2 laps to go, 4-way battle for the race lead. Buckle up, get some popcorn, get on the edge of your seats because it's about to kick off big time, I am sure, here in EML Console Tier 1, running down the hill in towards turn number 1 with Danny Van Ruyten. Rens there in second, not going for the move. He has learned from many a mistake around here in Japan. Certainly I made a mistake around in Japan, going for the move in towards turn number 1 once, and it cost me, and it absolutely bit me right on the backside of my own car. There's a yellow flag coming through. Lewis is round, I think, through the Casio Triangle. But Danny Van Ruyten and Rens currently 0.2 of a second covering the top 2. Rydal there in third, Ryan in fourth. Remember, Rydal's on the same amount of tyres as Rens. Danny Van Ruyten's on 2 lap older. So this could, if they get tactical, Mike, come into Rydal's favour.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, let's not forget we got Ryan there. Okay, he's on 15 lap old hard compound tyres, but we're getting to that stage now where the mediums will begin to fall away for Danny Van Ruyten after 10 laps. Rens and Rydal should be okay. I think they shouldn't see a severe drop off in lap time, but you never know. All these guys having DRS on each other, and we got a lovely battle going on for 5th as well with Lafiti, Tech, Epic Vale, Mikela and Dan scrapping out for 5th place right now, and it's another fantastic battle. Rens down the inside.
No. Faking.
But he's unsettled him though.
It hasn't settled him, and now for the final 2 of the Suzuka International Circuit, Rens Thomason right on the back of Danny Van Ruyten. Watch out for Rydal in behind as well, but the Dutchman overtakes his fellow countryman to the race lead. Rens there leads the way now. Danny Van Ruyten there in second, Rydal in third. There are still plenty of opportunities, though, for this lap to go wrong for Rens. Currently holding the lead of the race, Danny Van Ruyten could easily come back. We saw on the last lap how good he was. However, he is very low on fuel. Danny Van Ruyten might not make it to the end of the race if he's not careful. Rens pushing the limits, coming through Dunlop Curve, now in toward the Degners for the final time. Rens leading the way, 4.5 tenths. catches the curb through Degner 1, now through the right hand with Degner 2. Rydal is all over the back of Danny Van Moulton, running up the hill. Can the Swede potentially pull something off to the inside line? Can he find the move into the hairpin? No, he can't. This is balling down, I think, very nicely indeed. Now, Rydal has got Danny Van Moulton locked on in terms of a target. Now coming in toward the left-hander of the spoon curve for the final time at turns 13 and 14. Rens Thomason leading the way. It looks like he is bolted. It looks like he has gone and won this race. It's whether or not Rydal can come at Danny Van Moulton. Danny Van Moulton's field is low. Rydal, however, is going to come and attack him. There goes the battery for Danny Van Moulton. Here comes Rydal now through 130R. Phenomenal run on the outside line into the Casio triangle. The Sweden they make contact. Danny Van Moulton and Rydal into the side of each other. Danny Van Moulton there in second. Rens Thomason, however, on the run toward the line, takes the race win. Danny Van Moulton there in second. Rydal there in third. Ryan in fourth. Drama, potential controversy there at the end. But it is Rens Thomason who takes the race win. And Mike, he deserves that. But in the end, it got feisty between Danny and Rydal. That will get sorted out, I'm sure, in the stewards room.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not sure if that was just those two just getting locked onto each other a little bit, or whether there was a bit of real lock-in on Rydal's part, which made it look a lot worse than what it actually was. But we will have to see. As everyone now coming to the checkered flag, Alpha Gully for Team Shazoo. Disappointing race for him, all the way down in 15th place. And obviously big gainers here tonight. Definitely going to be ET8 and NLR, respectfully.
Oh, I'm just glad we got to the end of the race without anything lagging, which is really good. Everything fixed itself. We didn't even drop a frame. You caught that in very, very good terms. Fantastic race. Ren's out on top. Absolutely deserves it in the end. Danny Van Moulton in second. Rydal in third. Look at further down the field, Mike. Epic Vale and Tech. They weren't side by side coming across the line, were they?
Do you know what? I think they might have been. I didn't quite catch it, but I think they might have been.
And there, we're on board with Rydal. Rydal finishes third in the end. Driver of the day, awarded by the in-game fans, is Finbob. Interesting choice. I don't think we even mentioned him at once, really, during this race. Not on him, more than anything. It's just because he wasn't really involved in any battles. But an interesting choice there by the in-game fans. Finbob there finishing, I think, further down the field. But in the end, there is that man there, Rens Thomason, to the top step of the podium. He is once again triumphant here in Japan, carrying on his phenomenal run of race wins, not only in team events, but in PSGL, PSF1, won on Sunday in Jeddah, won on Monday in Jeddah, and now wins tonight here in EML Console Tier 1. And honestly, Mike, we jointly got that right.
Absolutely, and I'm kind of glad that the 5 red flags were going off before my podium prediction would come out, because I would have got it just slightly wrong.
You would have got that slightly wrong, and I'm honestly
glad
I
would have got it. I had Danny Van Moulton in second, and I had Ryan in third, so I would have got it slightly wrong.
I didn't even give a top 3 prediction, but you're fine. I'll run through the full grid order right at the end of the race. It seems like I have came out of the interview, the celebrations early, and it's gone black screen for me. So I will go on and filter out the results for you right now. It was, of course, Rens Thomason who took the win from Danny Van Moulton there in second, Rydal there in third. The Shazoo, ET8, NLR, all of that saga that is going to kick off between those 3 teams. I am here for it. I am absolutely going to love every amount of that battle. Ryan in the end and P4 picking up good points. Dan, P5 ahead of Epic Vale. I don't think that steward report will be getting put in after that. That's for sure, because he finished ahead of him. Epic Vale in 6th, Tech in 7th. Tech did come across the line side by side with Epic Vale there in the end. Joint on timing, so we'll have a look at POVs for that to confirm the results for that one. MI Killer NL for CPI in 8th, with BT in 9th, Mustache round off the top 10. And then it's Fraser, Finbob, Mad Dogs, Boyolio, Alpha Gully, top 15 for Alpha Gully. Disappointing from him. Agonized Lewis, Guy Taunton, then Max Power. Rounding off the 19 drivers that did complete, and fair play to Max Power. He picked up about 30 seconds worth of penalties, and he still finished down at 19th and picked up EVE's first points.
Yeah, and honestly, that's what we like to see. Like, even if the race is not going well for you, and keep going, keep pushing, because realistically, every point matters. So even if you're picking up 1 point, obviously we see him on 3-lap all soft tyres, potentially fastest lap as well for Max Power. Didn't quite see if he picked it up because I had the same issue as what you had with the loading screen, but potentially a fastest lap point as well for Max Power, potentially.
Yes, because it gets included throughout the full field. So yeah, he will get that fastest lap point as well. So that's 2 points at least for EVE at the end of tonight. I'm going to check in very quickly with Renz, and I hope to God, because we haven't done this, I hope it works. Shall we try and get some interviews done?
Yes, I do have to shoot off though.
No worries.
Unfortunately, but yes, we should definitely get interviews going. I will pop some questions in the chat from my side of things now.
Not a problem at all. Thank you for joining me in the commentary box, and I will definitely see you next week.
Yep, I'll catch you next week. Bye.
See ya. And I will try and see if any of them are available for interviews. I hope to God it works, because I haven't tried to try and get them in or anything within an interview room or anything like that. If they can see the interview rooms, that's brilliant, because it makes my job a hell of a lot easier. If not, then it's going to be a real struggle. So hopefully we can get at least 1 out of the 3, maybe even all 3 of them even in for tonight as well. Rodell said he's already off. Do not blame him whatsoever at all. It is very late, I'm sure, over there in Sweden, where he is from. And hopefully he has a very good night. And congratulations, of course, on that P3. Could have easily been P2 if it wasn't for that move in towards the final couple of corners at the Casio Triangle. But we'll see if Renz and DBR, as I'm going by his full name now, Tony Van Roten, will be available for interviews. If they're not, then it's totally fine. What we can do, though, is have a look at what is to come over the next couple of weeks here, of course, in EML Console Tier 1. We go to Monza next week. Monza in real life this week. Monza in EML next week for the Italian Grand Prix. Then we go to Jeddah, round number 4 of the championship, and then it's the Netherlands for round number 5 on the 18th of September. Then a break week in between with the Spanish Grand Prix for round 6 on October the 2nd. Britain on round 7 on October the 9th, and then it's Belgium, Qatar, and Brazil round off the season. We end on October the 30th, my girlfriend's birthday, believe it or not, as well. Really hope you enjoyed the stream, though. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. Take that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new to the channel. I'm just glad we got to the end and didn't drop a single frame from beyond the 2,000 and odd frames that I dropped earlier on. So hopefully it all makes up for it in the end. And I know what the issue is, which is always good to find out. It doesn't look like we are going to get any interviews at this moment in time. Not seeing DVR and Renz coming into the EML chat regarding any interviews. But it is definitely going to be very interesting, I am sure. I will definitely see how things go. Console Tier 2, by the way, is on Twitch. If you were wondering about where that was last week, it is on Twitch. You can go and watch that back this week, unlike last week. Unlike my foolishness of bringing up the channel and not putting VODs on. So that is how that works. But anyways, I think we're going to end it off here. I don't think Renz and Danny Van Royten are going to be coming for any interviews. I will give them another minute or two. But, of course, we go to Monza next week. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be quite hectic. There are plenty of issues I'm sure we're going to arise from that race as well. But for myself, from Overbrin Mike, who's been alongside me in the contracts, Mr. Michael Edwards himself, we are going to end it off here. Thank you so much for watching EML Console Tier 1. I will leave you in the capable hands of our fine music extraordinaire from our song that we have up in the background. I will see you though next week. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.